Welcome to the Ecommerce Alley podcast, where we believe that in order to build a life-changing business, you need passionate leadership, smart operations, and of course, powerful marketing. My name is Josh Coffey, and with me, I am accompanied by not one, but two guests today. I have
this guy,
Dylan Counts.
That's me.
And Jacob Coffey.
Hey, Jake, welcome.
Who is my brother, but he also leads our sales. If you're a client, you probably know Jacob because you didn't become a client without knowing Jacob. And we brought Jacob on because this is our 200th episode. Woo! Yay!
You know, I have to make a comment. I need to apologize. I did not bring those little like pointy birthday hats or the little confetti.
I thought about an ice cream cake, but I don't know.
It's not technically an anniversary.
Yeah,
it's just the 200th.
It's not true, dude. You know what you also forgot?
Oh, no.
You also forgot to put the memory card in the first time we recorded the first 10 minutes, and so maybe if you did that too.
It was only 5 minutes. This is the second time we've recorded. It's so hot up here, my brain's not working.
Well, all of that said, all of the memory card forgetting aside, we appreciate you listening to this episode. This is our 200th episode, which is a lot of episodes in the podcast world. I think most podcasts, something like 72% of them do not make it beyond 10 episodes, and 72% of facts are all made up on the spot. And so, because this is the 200th episode, we're doing this on camera, and it's been what, Dylan, like 3 months or 4 months.
It's been a while since we've done anything on video.
It's been a while since we've done a video podcast. We ended up moving. We still have our podcast studio, but we actually set it up for all of our client filming or our training filming. And we set it up so that way we could create content a lot easier and faster for our clients. So sorry, podcast listeners. If you're not our clients, like, we set it up so we can actually serve them a little bit more efficiently until we build the new studio, which is where we're at right now. So we're filming this because if you want to hop on YouTube and you want to get a little view at where we're sitting right now, we're in about 2,000 square feet of the second story of our building that I bought it years ago, and we've been building it along the way. But we're sitting in like an empty room. So it probably sounds a little maybe echoey in here. So sorry for that.
This is more just for the to remember this for the 300th episode, when this is actually a podcast studio. We'll have this video shot right here for us to look back, and we'll just be able to remember how hot and sticky we all are right now.
Yeah, because it is so hot up here right now.
There's no HVAC. It's been super hot here in Ohio, and I think Florida sent up their humidity as well. So it is hot, it's humid, so we're sweating. I have a little bit of shimmer on my forehead here.
A perspiring on the forehead.
Last video podcast I remember being a part of over 200 episodes ago, so it's been wild.
Yeah, it's been an ever ago. It's been a long time.
Have you been on a video podcast?
No, this is my first one.
Gotcha.
Jake MCs all of like our boot camps. That we used to do a lot of boot camps, and Jake would always MC those. He's going to MC at our upcoming event that's in Orlando next month. But I brought Jacob on because Jacob was actually
I haven't told Jake that yet.
He
heard through the grapevine.
I'm finding out for the first time, so I'm excited for that.
I need you to MC for this event.
Yeah, I can do that.
Great, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So I brought Jacob on because Jacob has actually been in the company since I think about 2016 when Jake came on. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm really excited. So we have all of us on here. You're going to get to see the background. You're going to get to see kind of where we're sitting right now, which is a really neat yet sweaty and humid and hot space. But I do want to give a little warning before we get going here. This is going to be a long episode. I don't know for certain how long, but if I look at episode,
because you see the time code. Listener.
The listener already knows how long this is. I don't know how long it'll be. But on episode 100, we talked about renting porn mags, $50,000 when I was younger, $50,000 profit months, and finding life's calling. I just went all out with the diversity on that, but it was an hour and 32 minutes. And so this episode, it's not going to be a very like teachy episode. Usually we're talking about strategy and tactics and all of the juicy stuff, but this is going to be juicier in its own regard. First of all, it's going to be juicy because my back is already sweating. Second of all, it's going to be juicy because we're going to talk about behind the scenes You like that one, didn't you?
That's gross.
This is going to go off the rails.
This
FYI.
is, guys, I cannot promise anything.
We brought the coffee
but
brothers
also we're going to
together.
talk about like how we operate as a company. We're going to go behind the scenes. We'll probably tell some really fun stories along the way. We're going to talk about the 3 different profit centers of our business and how we operate. And then we're going to break down what each one of those are. But I don't know where this is going. And I say all of this because this is likely going to be more entertainment and just get to know us than anything. So if this is your first time listening to the podcast and a friend of yours happened to forward you this episode, it's probably not a good metric as to what this podcast is usually like. So if you want something tactical, go listen to another episode.
Pretty much any episode other than episode 100.
Skip 100 and 200.
Skip those.
Everything else in between, super solid.
This one's for the super fans and or grandma. Grandma,
Yes.
we know you're
No,
watching.
Grandma, do not listen to this episode.
But,
So this will be more entertainment. I also say this because if you are someone like the 4-star reviewer who loves our podcast and left us a 4-star review a couple weeks ago on Apple that said we have too much fluff at the beginning, I just want to be fair. This is 100% fluff episode. I would skip this episode, but we still love you and we welcome the 4-star review because we love feedback. But all of that said, if you have not yet left us a podcast review, I'm looking at you. Yep, I'm looking at you, camera. Go leave us a review, and hopefully it's 5 stars. And don't judge this by the fluff in this episode and give us 4 stars for it. And also, I'm no mathematician, but we have a lot more listeners than reviews. So what that means,
I do think that's true.
what that means is there are a lot of mooches out there. If you're listening and you're just mooching, if you are mooching right now, I need you to mooch a rating for me. Can you just give me a rating?
I mean,
Stop mooching.
If you've mooched up to 200 episodes and you haven't left one, and you're listening to this one and you haven't left a review, this is the super fan episode. You need to leave a review.
Please.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, for those of you that can see me right now, you can leave a like and subscribe to maybe get more videos.
We can do the
future at some
traditional
point.
smash that bell icon.
I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah.
Beat the crap out of the subscribe button.
We'll count it. Hey, but you know what I also want to say? I also want to say that some people appreciate the fluff. Molly Goodall in our Max Profits Mentorship community literally posted in the last hour. She said, podcast appreciation post for Josh and Dylan. Keep dropping gems of wisdom and don't ever cut the chit chat. It's the best part. From a Minecraft mom, episode 199.
Hey.
Yeah, how epic is that? Invite her to.
We have a Minecraft team.
Go listen to episode 199.
So
the last
episode. Really
Dylan
well.
talked about it a lot in the last episode.
Yeah.
I love that.
We won't waste time on that. We'll let everyone go listen if you want to hear about Minecraft. But anyway, all that said, I just wrote this down. We started from the top in a nice studio. Now we're here with a folding table and an echoey room that's 100 degrees and 100% humidity.
Well, here's the thing. It's just foreshadowing.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Ooh, I like that.
We're literally in the cusp of what's to come.
The cusp of greatness.
Exactly. I mean, this is exactly where the
New band
podcast...
name. Call it Cusp of Greatness.
This is exactly where this table is, where the podcast studio is going to be.
Yeah.
Hopefully in a year. And we'll have a control room over here, and then all of our... Sorry, guys. I'm also running the video switcher here. So when I want you to see the back room, I have to actually do that. So for those of you watching on YouTube where the video doesn't actually match what's happening, I apologize. All of these are going to be like offices and conference room and all of this kind of stuff. So is it hot and sweaty and echoey? Yes, but it's worth it for the view, for that shot right there.
As they used to say 10 years ago, do it for the vine.
All
right. We're going to go ahead. You guys don't know. You're too young. All right. You had to be there.
Logan,
the Paul brothers. I don't know. Cool. Well, let's go ahead. I do want to dive in. Not a lot of people know who Jacob is. So I kind of want to introduce who Jacob is because Dylan, you and I have been doing this for a long time. But Jake, could you go ahead, introduce yourself, who you are?
I want to introduce Jake.
Sure,
Jake, introduce yourself.
Josh's brother.
You have the same last name?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we do. So it's really cool because I came on board many moons ago, like Josh said, about 2016 is when we got involved. And my role in the company is really fun. I would argue the most fun out of every role, but that's very biased.
I don't know about that. Mine's more fun than yours.
So I work all on the front end strategy. So anybody who's looking for help figuring out all the nonsense that we do, I get to meet with them and I get to chat with, on average, 40 to 50 amazing e-commerce stores every single week, and just help solve problems.
How many aren't amazing? Scale like percentage
I'm gonna
wise.
say, I can count them on one finger, one hand, not one finger, one hand. You got the people who come in and they feel like they know more, and that's cool. But in reality, I get to just go into every brand pretty much that we work with and say, figure out the bottleneck, and then overall just connect them with the right solution. If it's something we can help with, that's phenomenal. If not, that's cool too, right? So it's a lot of fun because everybody is on a different point in their journey. And I just get to see all the numbers, analytics, and what I tell people all the time is just, what we do is very scientific. And so I get to look at the numbers and just help people every day, all day.
That was a good intro. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, and so that's kind of my role. My role here is just designed to help people first, and if we can help further, we will. If we can't, that's great. So I meet a lot of amazing people all over the world too, is what I mentioned. We have people that find us just 2 days ago, popping in from Australia, New
where
Zealand.
We're not even running ads, and it's amazing. That's always so exciting.
In many countries, we have the United States, of course. We have a good clientele in Canada, but we have people who find us all over the place, and I get to meet all these different people from different backgrounds, different just cultures, and it's just amazing. And so, I get to kind of go through it with them, figure out all the problems. And so really the only way that somebody gets connected with anything we do is if I get to meet them first. And so I'm kind of that first line of defense. You're the gatekeeper. And gatekeeper of who we are as a company. And that is just incredibly fun, insanely rewarding, and just have so much joy
for all of the clients listening. You should send Jacob a thank you, because he is the one that filters the people that are in our communities. So we have some rules of thumb. We have some criteria. They're like, depending on the program that like we recommend, there are revenue thresholds that Jacob holds to, but then also there's like culture fit thresholds. Like if you you talk to people that are just jerks and you're like, we don't like jerks.
The number one qualification for anybody who becomes a client is honestly personality, right? Because if you come in with a high level of just arrogance or just whatever it is, it's just, that's not us. And we're not going to work well together. And so the first thing we look at with every client is who you are. And do you have a high standard of ethics and morals in your business? And will we resonate with that, right? So
that's why our communities are so good.
Yeah, our communities
so
are
fun.
Awesome. They're the best on the planet. And it's just so cool to be able to work with so many amazing people. Overall, I would say 50% of the businesses that we get to meet and chat with will ever end up working with us or even be offered the opportunity, right? So it's just due to a lot of factors. Yes, do we look at the logistics, average order value and profit margin, all the cool stuff. But it comes down to like how dedicated are you to figuring this out? And if the answer is, well, not very, this is obviously a side gig for me and that's cool. But we work with very driven people. And so I get to meet with crazy psychopaths of entrepreneurs. And that's my favorite part. It's like people who are like, I'm going to figure this out no matter what it takes. Yes, that is somebody. And so I get to meet them. The first person they have to meet in the company is myself. And that is just so stinking fun.
Or they've watched hours of content of Josh's face and they're just excited to see a different face.
They get on and they're like, wait, who are you? I thought you might be Josh.
How many people think that you're me?
Yeah, it's probably 80%. They get on, they're like, well, I saw 2 J's. I see 2 Old Testament names.
And coffees.
And coffee. And so I assume, but then they're like, wait a minute, you didn't have a beard in the training. I'm like, well, funny story. That's not me at all. So that's really cool. That's really cool. You know, so ultimately it's like, oh, actually that's my brother, and like, oh, family business, right? And for those of you who don't know, there's, you know, we have another brother involved in the business. So many people here have the same last name. So it gets very confusing very fast.
Yep.
But overall, long introduction to the fact that I just get to be the front end of what we do, strategize with many different people of all different crazy products, and then just kind of connect them with the right solutions. It's a blast, and it's the funnest job on the face of the earth.
Well, Josh, that was a great intro.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for introducing yourself for me, because I just had a note that said Jake's journey. Well, what's kind of interesting is like, so Jacob graduated high school. What did you do right after that? Did you work with?
So I worked.
You worked with Dad for a little bit. Yeah, our dad owned a painting company.
Our dad owned a painting business to where you're interior, exterior, and you're on scaffolds. You're on high elevation a lot of the time.
Very similar to what we do here.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah. So we were Josh and I both worked for our father, and we would paint houses commercially, residential. And I was the prep guy. So I would tape everything off, remove the switch plates on, you know, something you don't give someone with a lot of talent. Something you give someone who can just do.
I never even got that job. Okay. So you must have really been bad.
No, I wasn't good.
Okay, that's really I can just see you, everyone else is like painting, you're sitting on the floor in front of a wall socket with a screwdriver,
pretty much caulking and like So I mean that was but give and take, it was still a lot of hard work, and it was long days, and especially during the summertime. So Josh and I both worked for our father, and at some point in that journey it was like, okay, I want to work with my mind. I live in a farm with my wife's family. We get to work with their hands all day. But we get to go in and actually curate something and help people all over the place. And again, that's really cool. So we get to strategize, and thankful, though, for that time that we worked for Dad, right? It's like it taught work ethic. Our dad is a hard worker. He built a company and he worked these long days. So thankful that both of us got to experience that. But ultimately, then it came time to work, and I thought, let's do this. I had my favorite part of that job was working with people, right? So the clients, we go into their house and we get to know them, and that was really cool. And I thought I just love talking to people and helping people. And that led us to the agency days, right? And so we got into in 2016 or early 2016.
Yeah, so you joined, I think, in 2016.
Yeah.
And then you worked for us for, I don't know, it felt like a year or something. And then you decided one day, you're like, hey, I want to go hike the Appalachian Trail by myself for 4 months.
Yeah, so when we got this started, I told Josh, I wasn't married at the time, I didn't have children. I have amazing children now. I have amazing wife that I've been with 10 years. And at the time, I had to go figure something out. We didn't do college. None of us did. So there wasn't that.
Hey, I made it 9 weeks.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to downplay that.
You made it longer than both of us.
Yeah, that's true. No, Dylan and I didn't even start. So I thought, let's go out and let's really. I wanted to go find something. I don't know what it was. Do something really hard to kind of set up my life. So when I came in and we wanted to do the agency thing, I thought, hey, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to leave for a couple months. Ended up being 4 months to where I hiked from Georgia to Maine at the time, and took I guess what pastors would call a sabbatical. I don't know what you call it when you're.
What does your boss call that?
Yeah,
unemployed.
Unemployed. Yeah. So,
but I still paid your commissions the whole time, which honestly I think was a bunch of bull crap. I paid you on those retainers you sold.
Hey, man,
out of good faith.
So ultimately, we brought on clients for the agency, and then I left for 4 months. It was May 1st to September 1st. And ultimately, it was a good time. I got to go just be in nature for 4 straight months, lived in the woods. And then came back, and we kept rocking from there. But that was cool. And agency life, of course, I'm sure we'll talk about it today, is insane. You do a lot of crazy stuff for a lot of different diverse clientele. But that was cool. That was a cool experience. And then we came back and just kind of picked up where we left off.
So, well, almost. You left, you went and you hiked the Appalachian Trail. Then Kelsey and I went and we backpacked the last 4 days with you or whatever it was.
Yes.
Jake wraps up the Appalachian Trail. We come back. He takes a 2-week break because he needs to reacclimate with human beings. And then he comes back to the office and he's a freaking weirdo.
Well, when you're
dude's
alone,
social skills disappeared, like disintegrated into nothingness.
Well, I was alone for those 4 months. You meet some people along the way, but overall, our job was so ingrained in people. And when you're by yourself in the woods,
at least you were super useful to the company then.
Yeah, you know what? It was different.
So I imagine that's where the story's going.
So Jake comes back. He works for a little while, and then he's like, I'm going to go work for the Ashland Chamber of Commerce. So then he goes to the Ashland Chamber of Commerce for a little bit. And then he's like, sorry, Ashland Chamber, if you're listening, this place is terrible. And then he goes to a car dealership. Is that the next place, right?
Yeah. So I fell in love with our community here in Ashland, Ohio. We built this company in our hometown. There's 20,000 people live in our city. Even countywide, maybe 50,000, 60,000. We live in a very small rural community. And so I fell in love with it and I thought, what can I do to help this? And so I worked for a nonprofit. And that was cool. I helped to build the community a little bit. And then I thought, I want to go to something that's like very fast paced, moving. This is when we have a family dealership. It's a family here in town that runs this. Went and worked for these fellas, and they're great people.
They're awesome.
They're awesome. And I worked there for several years, and just ultimately, did everything from the typical sales stuff to finance and working with the banks, which was cool. Traveled for them and did some neat stuff there. I loved it. It was cool, but the challenge was it wasn't exactly what I wanted in terms of just experiencing life and being gone a lot of the time. I want to say, how can I help people, but do this on a more normal schedule, right? And
you didn't like working on Saturdays until 8 o'clock every week?
6 days a week, 8 p.m. every night. It got old, and I had 2 children in the process. So between that, I just thought, there's something greater I can do to help people. And then resurface I remember that night too. Josh was over. We had a fire in the fireplace, and we were just talking about life in general. And thought, the company had changed, right? And we'll talk about this too. But from the agency to really what we do now of education. And I thought that's something I can do to help people and connect them with solutions. This was 3-4 years ago at this point. But that's the point to when I thought, it's time I want to come back and do this. Very, very different from when we were running the agency. And so that's kind of how that all came about. Yeah.
Here we are all these years. It's been what, 3? It's been a couple years.
Yeah.
3 years almost?
It's between 3 and 4.
I think
Probably 3. I think I'm 4.
Dylan's about 4 years for you. I think Jake came a year later in 2022. It's been a crazy journey. So like when we look at our business, so Jake came back in a transitionary time for us, and it was good / kind of challenging because like we had been an agency for 8 years. Meaning we were doing the work for people. We're doing the paid media buying, we're doing the email, we're doing all that stuff. And we loved it, but to be honest, like I love the strategy of it, but I just felt like a greater, some people call it calling, right? I felt like this greater calling to do something where we can multiply and teach people on a greater capacity. And I've always had this desire to teach. And finally, there's a moment in time in 2020, end of 2020. I am it's the end of the year, and I'm on this 2-week trip with my wife, and we have like a rooftop tent, and we're camping, and we're in like the Badlands, and we're in South Dakota in the Black Hills, and we're in the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone, and then we're in Glacier. And I remember being in Glacier, and this is 2020, 2021, somewhere in that time period. And a book had just released by a guy that I had never heard of before.
Small guy at the
time. Literally had like 100 reviews on this. It was a free book on Kindle. And I'm like, hey, we're on a 2-week road trip. When I'm on these 2-week road trips, I'm like, I just read, I think, I reflect, I get all introspective about life. And I ended up downloading this free Kindle book called $100 Million Offers. and didn't know it at the time, but the book would change our entire lives. Like Alex Hormozi wrote the book. And if you don't know Alex, go check out Alex Hormozi. He wrote $100 Million Offers, $100 Million Leads. And by the time you listen to this, he will have written $100 Million Money Models. Actually, is about to release in the next couple of days.
2 days. Yeah.
In 2 days on Saturday. And so I read this book on $100 Million Offers, and it like blew my mind with what was possible, the impact you could have, the business you could run. And I'm looking at the model of the business of education and coaching and events and masterminding and all this stuff. And I just love people so much. And right then, while I'm in Glacier, I open a document and I just write this thing that I called Facebook Ads Accelerator Mastery. FAM. I don't know. FAAM. It was the worst naming ever. And I wrote this idea for something in September. We had no audience. We had no podcast. We had no email list. We had no anything. We had been built on referrals in the agency world. But I decided I really believe we should pursue education and we should pursue building this coaching and this thing that we could multiply by teaching what we have done for so long for the people that don't necessarily need an agency. In fact, by the way, I believe most people don't need agencies, and a lot of the 7 and 8 figure brands that we get to consult and work with and coach and work in our programs, they don't have agencies. Side note. But at that moment in time, we decided to take the plunge in the next year, and we launched this podcast. This was 2021. Dylan was a part of it. We decided to go all out. We built
I didn't know what we were doing.
I still don't know what we're doing.
Like, I remember the day where, and this was only a few episodes, and probably 20 episodes into the podcast, we were sitting in the conference room across the street, and I looked over at Josh and I said, how do we make money? Because I didn't know. I literally had no idea. All I knew is that I made this podcast thing, and that was it.
So we ended up like contracting Dylan to help us. We went all in though. So we spent about 10 grand. We bought all these cameras, and some of the cameras we still have today. Of course, some of them have like different lenses, and we have more fancy gear now. But I really believed that we should go all in. And so we spent about $10,000 building this podcast set. When Dylan says across the street, by the way, we own a building in our downtown of our city. And then across the street, we actually lease a space. And so, And so we have a whole studio. I decided, I really had this confidence in it. And so we ended up building out a set. We were at Home Depot. We got an intern. Her name was Katie at the time. And we ended up building an entire set. It's like 3 sides. It has bricks. We installed lighting and all of this stuff. And
if only they could see it.
Yeah, if only you could see it. We're no longer filming in there anymore.
We're currently in just this
funny,
building.
Right? Yeah. Now we're just like I said, we started from the top. Now we're here.
And now we're back at we started at the bottom, and then we're back at the bottom.
But we built this podcast when we were building the podcast. So our previous business name was called Flight Media, and it wasn't even the Ecommerce Alley yet. We did e-commerce stuff, but it was called Flight Media. That was the agency I started with 8 years prior, and I wanted to change the name that we did business as. And we ended up, I forget how I landed on it, but, actually, I know how I landed on it. I always loved the idea. You ever see Night at the Roxbury? You guys ever watch that?
Yeah.
Dylan, don't tell me.
I don't watch movies.
Dylan literally doesn't watch anything, guys. Okay,
I like Pixar and Disney movies.
Okay, so in Night at the Roxbury, there's this, they have this idea for a club that is like the outside or the inside outside or the outside inside. I forget what it is. Where like the club is like, I could be wrong on this too. My brain is fuzzy, but it's like the club is out inside, but it feels like it's outside. It's outside,
it's like cones and street signs.
Yeah, I forget what it was. It was something like that. But anyway, I always love the idea. I'm like, what if we built an office space that had like brick like hallways, and it had like ivy on the walls, and it was like high ceilings, and it was dark, and it felt like you were literally walking down an alley. In fact, that's what we're going to be building outside of this. The room that we're on the second floor, our hallway is going to end up looking like an alley. It's kind of like faux brick, and we're going to have like lamps, street lamps, and it's going to be really cool. And I always had this idea because I always loved like alleys. They were kind of like eerie and kind of neat. And I'm like, man, like deals go down in the alley. You know what I mean? Like stuff happens in the alley that doesn't happen anywhere else. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I always love this idea.
Mostly a bad thing.
like drugs and stuff.
Mostly bad stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a cool concept.
But it's a place you can get stuff you can't get anywhere else.
That is true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're trying to decide on this set and how we're going to build this set. And I was like, I've always wanted like brick walls and like these like lamps that are they just downcast light. So it kind of has this silhouette effect. And I like the idea of ivy. So it has like this, like eerie vibe, or it has this kind of like a rustic vibe. And so like we end up building this set. It takes months to build it. And that changed our entire lives. And we ended up landing on the Ecommerce Alley. I was so stuck on Alley, and our intern was coming up with all kinds of ideas. And I was like, don't like it, hate it, hate it, hate it. And then I was like, why don't we just say, I like the word alley. What can we do with alley? And every iteration was just I just didn't like. And then I was like, why don't we just call it the Ecommerce Alley? Let's just call it what it is. And here we are 4 years later, 200 episodes deep, hundreds of clients that we get to work with, 3 of our own partner brands. And it's been an unbelievable journey starting from there and figuring out everything along the way. Because I remember that first month, I think our podcast got like 20 downloads. And I think they were likely just us, because we're listening to every episode that releases that month.
Yeah, I was listening.
If you weren't listening, Dylan, if you weren't listening, I saw that. So we end up shifting from... It was a process, but over the next 2 years, up until 2023, we were still an agency. We were doing all of this stuff with the clients, and we started to shift to where we slowly started letting clients go and handing them and making recommendations for them. And it was like this, it was about a 2-year process until we came to the point where like right now we just get to, we get to teach and educate, we get to coach, we get to do live events, we get to also practice what we preach inside of the 3 partner brands that we work with and some other things. And so it's been a pretty crazy process during that period of time. But in doing that, we have now expanded the Ecommerce Alley into 3 major profit centers, kind of how we view everything. The first section is our education, information, live events, like all of that, which is what we started with. But it's now expanded also into software with Breezeway, which we'll talk about, and then also into beginning to build our own portfolio of house brands. And so it's been a crazy journey. And so what I'd love to do is I'd love to talk through these 3 different areas of the business and what those actually look like, kind of how we got there, and some just things we've been learning, maybe some stories along the way, with the first being education. And so we all have the line that we all know, and that is we educate, entertain, and empower our mission is to educate, entertain, and empower every e-commerce business owner on the planet. And we say that because education by itself is super freaking boring. For years, I've attended so many programs and masterminds and sessions where it's literally just Zoom video recordings or Loom screen share video recordings. And you have to scrub through this 45, 60, 90-minute session to find what you need, and they're just so dry. And so we kind of look at our business from the lens of, at least the information side of the business, through the lens of how do we educate people in the things that they need to know, with the skills they need to acquire to grow their business, but then also how do we entertain them along the way? And we've built in strategic ways to do that. And then ultimately, how do we empower them to say, for them to believe that I can do this. And so when people come into our programs, we want them to believe. We want them to feel a sense of belonging. And if we can help them with that, it empowers people to just have this explosive growth that's been just completely crazy and awesome. So I want to talk through each of those. Dylan is going to lead most of the Breezeway stuff. So if you're ever interested in like the Breezeway side of things with software, there's some crazy things that we're doing. And if you're in the e-commerce space, you have to pay attention to that because it's going to make your media buying experience way easier, as well as portfolio. I'll talk a little bit about that because we get a lot of questions about that. But the core of our business, the first part is education. And so we moved to education. It was a long journey, but I kind of felt like the The first 8 years in business was literally just the training ground to acquire the skills necessary to then move us into a position of authority and being able to knowledgeably talk about the things that we do. So on the education side with the e-commerce alley, we look at this from like our courses and tools, which we have like, go to ecommercealley.com. We have a shop of like tons of tools. We also look at like training and coaching. We have community, and then we also have like workshops, which these are all like, a lot of these are all blended together into like our what's called our Max Profits membership. Check it out if you haven't checked it out before. But we have like training of the different systems and frameworks that we use. We have coaching. We have community of other e-commerce business owners. We do workshops every single week with our clients. We also do things like squads, which are for like accountability of people in similar revenue ranges that have similar problems as you. And then we also, last year, for the first time ever, we integrated live events. And I felt like that was, I don't know, that's like Dylan's thing, but I felt like that was a long time coming. And it was like really cool to finally roll out last September, we ended up doing our first event down in Orlando, which was super, super awesome. But my question for you guys, of all the things we do, what is your favorite thing?
Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
you can go first.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's nothing like, being in person with other people. And this might be your answer too, because we live our lives online, right? It's constant Zoom sessions, and everybody's like, oh, you forget that they're more than just literally their shoulders and their head, right? And so, or people just chill audio with their cameras off. So we are connected but disconnected in a very real way. And so when we bring people together for these events that we host for our clients, you get to just physically experience the impact that what we do and what we teach in their life, how it's changed their life, the businesses and we work with some astounding, amazing businesses that have just grown to heights that they might have believed weren't even possible, just with the right frameworks and systems. And so when you get to see that and experience and just build these lifelong friendships, that's hard to beat. That really is. As far as just what we do. But overall, it's kind of under this is my favorite thing is everybody meets us at a different point in the journey. We meet those that are just starting their e-commerce journey, to those that have already worked with 20 agencies and are so far along, but yet burned and yet trying to figure stuff out, right? And so we meet everybody at, some people might have their ads kind of figured out, but they suffer maybe from these other components of operations and finance. And so when you get to experience that, it's just so cool to see people unlock things. When you get to meet them in person, you get to see it just in their face and their eyes. And that is so stinking cool. As far as like one of my absolute favorite things that we do as a team, just more or less, is that we take time every year. We take time to do a team retreat, right? And we get to talk about what are the challenges that our clients are having, what are the problems at hand, and we'll go somewhere. We go somewhere and we have that experience as a team to where we get to discuss what those challenges are, how we're going to overcome them. We plan for what education is most important for people, and we just get to kind of roadmap. I think what we have is definitely special in terms of a team. Something that if you tell people me and my company go to an Airbnb together for 5 days and solve problems, everyone's gonna be like, you what with your company? That is just the weirdest thing in the planet, but yet we're a very tight team to where we can do things like that. So the in-person interaction internally with our team as well as our clients is just such a cool element and definitely one of my favorite parts.
I'm just glad we don't tell them about the brotherly tickle fights that we do, where they would think we're really weird.
There's always going to be brotherly tickle fights.
I don't participate in those.
Okay, Dylan does not participate in the brotherly tickle fights.
I'll pass. Thank you, though. Thank you for the offer. Well,
all right. In all professional seriousness, we don't do that too much.
We can't be professional or serious. I will say, in order to get this conversation back on track before it completely derails, I have your answer was actually far more introspective than I thought you would come to the table with. Mine is events, but not for the reasons you gave, just because events are freaking cool.
They're fun.
What we do for these events, I just got off a call, I guess it was like an hour ago with Disney, and we're, planning the next event, and we're going to be doing some crazy crap for Disney. Like we got some lounges and some event spaces that you cannot even go to. Like if you have a park ticket, you can't go to that event. Like it's insane what we get to do. Not only that, but I come from a background of like enjoying event production and that kind of a thing, and video and film, all of that. So being able to provide an experience for a big group of people, but make it feel individualized is so fun. So getting to plan these events and doing the crazy things that we're doing with Disney with these events, that's my favorite part. I love every aspect of the events.
Well, even like one step further than that, like why that is, it's a community. A lot of people meet us where they need frameworks, they need systems, they need process, they need to solve problems and holes in the boat of their business. But then you realize over time, what's really powerful is the tribe, right?
Yeah.
And this is when people bring personal things to the table. I'm dealing with this in my life and my business, and you get to be a part of that. And the wins and the failures and the struggles in our community is what makes what we do really cool. Anyway, you can buy a course anywhere. I mean, granted, ours is the best, but you can buy content. It's not just
objectively. It's literally the best.
Well, by the numbers, but just by the stats. But no, overall, it's just like when people get in. Yes, you came for frameworks and systems, but what you found here is a community of people that are really going to support you. Yes, in person, yes, online, but that is the craziest thing, because then you realize, oh, my struggles, my business is unique, and I'm unique, and my product's unique. My challenges, my goodness, 20 people have solved those before me, and I get to be in a room with them, right? So that is just the overall coolest element of what we do is the community. It's the people that form that tribe that's around us.
Yeah. In light of jumping on the bandwagon and saying the exact same thing, it's so funny. Like I have Dylan or Connor or Robert who could like do coaching, like do some of those things for me, but I love coaching. So I'm going to take a little different angle. I love coaching. It is the least scalable thing that you can do because of the time standpoint, but coaching is just like, you could ask Dylan, like we were in Breckenridge, Colorado a couple of weeks ago. And, I got altitude sickness like severely to where like I was like on this oxygen tank thingy and I was dying. And I was like, I could still take the coaching call. And Dylan's like, no, I'm going to take the coaching call. You can't take the coaching call.
No, what really sealed the deal for me on that one is this was like, we were all working at the Airbnb that day and I needed some input from Josh on something. So I walked in, I was quiet. I respected the fact that he wasn't feeling good. And I walked in, I was like, hey Josh, I just wanted to get your feedback on this thing that I'm doing. And he's like, hold on one sec. I have to go throw up. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, hey, do you still want me to coach? No, Josh, you're not coaching.
But the oxygen tank people got there and I felt fine.
If you want to see Josh look like an old man, at Josh Coffee on Instagram, you'll see him hooked up an oxygen machine. Right?
So I say that because coaching is literally like lifeblood for me. Like I love it so much because you get to see breakthroughs. But second to coaching, oh my goodness, these like live events and the way that we do them is unlike any event that you'll attend. Like it's like people have been to our events are like, this is so different. This is not like a conference. This is like you show up and there's this intimate factor and we've thought through crazy details that you would not really think through. And we cultivate these experiences that you could never do if you didn't have people behind the scenes trying to make these like really unique experiences happen. So like last year, we were at Orlando. We were also at Disney last year for this event. And it was like, I mean, what we did every day was really cool, but like we got to like interactive sessions. So it was like 3 days. We did an opening dinner on the rooftop of the Contemporary overlooking Magic Kingdom, fireworks show, all this cool stuff, sessions all day on Thursday. Our hurricane rolls in, which is crazy. And then we usually at our events, the first half of Friday, which is the final day, we cut out and we don't tell people what's happening until about midnight. And then literally we take people hostage until midnight and we're doing excursions and we're like doing these things that you literally can't do if they weren't curated. And so last year at Disney, like we're in Hollywood Studios beyond the park even being open. The park closes at 9. We're there till 9 p.m. We're riding Smuggler's Run. We're shuttling people around. We have a private patio for the Fantasmic show. We're at Star Wars Launch Bay, which is a Star Wars museum, and we have like food and like after party, and like so we like create these really life-changing experiences, and they're bringing us out of the park and they're just shutting the street lamps off behind us. Like it's just movie cinematic experience. And so you literally can't top that. Like being in person is so underrated. Like I think COVID unfortunately just demolished the live events world, and it's sad, but we're pushing through. We're like, I don't care if we have 30 people or 60 people or 100 people, we're going to do this thing.
I care. I have a budget I have to.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings me to the second part of events. Is the unfortunate thing is they are very expensive.
The way our bank account is set up.
Yeah. So
thank you all for listening.
Thank you all for listening.
You've been bamboozled. This whole thing was just a promotion.
There's a link in the description to donate to the event.
Yeah. No. But what's really exciting is like our next event. I've never been more excited for an event that we've ever done. Like we did, our first one last year was at Walt Disney World. And then we did San Francisco, which was really cool. We had amazing feedback from our clients, but we're going back to Walt Disney World because it was such an incredible experience there, and we know the system. We're spending way more money this time, better experience, and almost 2 times the amount of people, and we sold out like months in advance, which is just really, really exciting. And so we're also, little plug here, not that you can get a ticket or anything like that, but it's really cool because we, in doing events, this time we have Molly Pittman from Smart Marketer, who's coming to speak, which is really like full circle for me, because ironically on that trip 4 years ago, when I was going to Glacier with my wife, Kelsey, and we're just road tripping for 2 weeks, and I'm reading this book and all of this, I was binging her podcast of Smart Marketer because I love Smart Marketer podcasts, and Molly just seemed like such a down-to-earth human being, and she's just south of us in Kentucky, and she has a dog rescue called Fields of Freedom, and they rescue tons of dogs, and it's just really, really neat. And so the fact that we're hosting this event and we get to hire Molly to come speak and then hang with us. I can't believe, by the way, we convinced her, because I was like, we're like Molly through the grapevine of connections that we have. Shout out to Kate Shell.
Yep.
Kate Shell, yeah.
Kate Shell, yeah, Kate Shell.
Kate.
So shout out to Kate if Kate's listening to this. Kate introduced us to Molly because she used to work at Smart Marketer. And anyway, all of that said, Molly Pittman's going to be speaking on our event, which is super cool. It was just like, we wanted to have a guest speaker, and she was like one of the first people that I wanted to have. And she said yes. And so she's going to be there, and we convinced her to actually stay out with us till after midnight.
Thank goodness, because I did not have a backup plan for a guest speaker.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing
All
she
right,
said
I
yes.
guess I would have had to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
No, you're the MC.
Oh, that's true.
Jake's the MC. So yeah, live events definitely really, I would say, the most really impactful things you could do, because like when you're at home, when you run your business solo and you're kind of isolated, like if you have a community like we do, or squads and things like that we try to cultivate for our clients, you have some feedback. But when you're in person with people, it's just so different. Like you get ideas that, like whenever, like last year, I went to several events. I went to one in Australia. I went to one in Fiji, and it was crazy expensive to go to these events. But going to those events gave us ideas that have made us insane multiple 6 figures just in the last year of implementation of what we've learned and ideas that we've gotten. And so definitely highly recommended. If you don't attend events, you should really put yourself in the circle of people who have been there, done that, and already solved the problem that you're trying to solve.
And by the way, Josh did say that you won't be able to get a ticket to this event, but you might be able to. If you're listening 45 minutes into this episode, you're hearing this, you're like, man, I wish I could go. You can't go, but this year we're doing something new and we're live streaming it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are interested, you want to hear the sessions, you want to hear what Molly has to say, you want to hear all of that. You'll even get a little.
You want to
bit
hear
of
what Josh
community.
has to say too? Come on.
well,
I'm delivering
sessions-
6 sessions.
You want to hear
Sessions-
Jake MC? You know, some people might buy a ticket for that.
Yep.
I do
Thanks.
some terrible stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to buy the ticket for you.
It was worth
but
a shot.
I'm sorry. But we are going to be selling virtual tickets to this. If you're interested and want to get on a wait list, just email team@ecommercealley.com. Say you're interested in the virtual ticket, and then you will be notified first when those go live.
Cool.
There you go.
All right.
I had to do
turned into a promo.
Yeah, I
love
had to do
that.
the promo. Sorry.
I forgot we're doing that. Yeah, we haven't done that before.
If
That's
you
pretty
act
cool.
in the next 12 seconds,
You'll get a free gift.
You'll get a free set of steak knives.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
no, we can't.
So
That's not in the budget.
in 2021, bring us back on track. 2021, we move into education, coaching, grown tremendously. I forget the total count of like active clients we work with if I remove some of like our initial ones. But like we work actively with hundreds of clients. So we get to like teach the frameworks too. Super awesome. We have also in the last 4 or 5 years been doubling revenue year over year, which has been really incredible growth for us. It's been a ton of fun. But I would be curious from you guys, what do you think one thing is that has helped us 2x year over year?
Since you went first last time, I'll go first this
go
time.
ahead, yeah.
I think the number one reason is the speed that we do stuff. Like I'm going to tell a story here in a little bit about the launch of the Alley, but we launched that whole program in a day.
Oh yeah, we did.
Like overnight.
And that was a year ago.
Yeah. The speed that we were able to create that program and the speed that we're able to do everything here. We can pivot, we can change, we can sit down at the conference table 1 second, have a solution and be implementing it within an hour. And I think that is what gives us the upper edge of pretty much everything. Like whether it's a sales process, whether it's our ad strategy, whether it's our events, any of that kind of stuff, we're so fast at all of it.
That is pretty crazy. It's crazy to think that like the Alley was an idea in a day.
Yep.
And the next day we launched it, and now we have however many people on and have joined it. And it's by the end of the year, it'll be over $1 million in revenue produced just from that product, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Just a day of work. It's just that easy. Fortunately, we already had all
and
the
all the ongoing.
We had
that's
all
it.
the video content already
The
done.
idea was short.
But
The implementation is long.
yeah, that is true. That is true.
I think the biggest thing from this perspective is definitely going to be the buy-in of the team.
Yeah.
Right. It's like there's no way around it. We have a marketing agency that we know that has trouble. I mean, there's always people kind of coming and going, and at the end of the day, it's like this team is very weird. We have an insane. I mean, people come and we stay, right? And everybody wears a lot of hats. And this is what's interesting. So I have the role of front-end strategy, right? Of connecting people with the right solutions for what makes sense with where they're at. But I mean, just very recently, we had somebody who maybe had not been in the right place where they were in this program. We maybe felt this, and we were just able to, traditionally how an old school company would have viewed this as, oh, that's a support problem or that's an XYZ problem. And it was like, well, hold on. Let's all get involved. Let's solve the problem, right? Let's fix the solution. And we brought 3 people together to solve that problem, right? Yep. So one thing this team doesn't do is pass the buck. It's like we are all here because we want to be here, right? And it's an honor to be on this team. I always equate it to, of course, the traditional old school perspective is like the 300 Spartans at the Battle of Theopoli. It took 300 to fend off thousands. History buffs out there know what I'm talking about. But it's a very elite team of people. Yeah, it's historical reference. Too. If you see 300 with Gerard Butler, you know what I'm talking about. But this is a very high caliber team of just crazy people. I mean, to be honest, like everyone, it doesn't matter what your job is, right? That's one thing nobody's ever said. That's not my job. That's not my thing. And one proof of this is every Monday everyone has to check 3 boxes, right? Growth. Did I grow? Good stewardship. That's mostly financial. And did I have fun? And the coolest part about those 3 boxes, that's not from the company perspective. That's not, did we grow as a company? Were we good financial stewards as a company? Did we have fun as a company? That is personal. Did you as an individual, were you a good steward of your finance? Did you grow personally? And that could be professionally, personally, spiritually. It doesn't matter what it is. And overall, did you have fun in your life? And did you have fun doing what you do? And I think that is a testament to more of this team, because if you realize that all the people are firing on those cylinders, you can't have you cannot be financially healthy as a company if all your employees are up to their eyeballs in debt and living paycheck to paycheck, right? So each individual has to be a good steward. You can't have fun as a company unless your people individually have fun. You can absolutely not grow as a company unless each team member is invested in their growth in some aspect of their life. Their marriage, their fatherhood, their motherhood, it doesn't matter what it is. So I think overall, each individual of our company has so much stink and buy-in. I mean, down to the smallest of things. Like if you just vocalize a thing you're thinking about, you have like 2 or 3 other people that are trying to solve it and work through it, and you never even asked for it. And I think that is the biggest asset we have is our team. And what it honestly has been the contribution to growth. I mean, at the events, Dylan, Bree, we have team members who plan these events. I plan very minimal. I just get to go and have fun and be a part of it. But even still, what was I doing the other day? Calculating cryptexts for the scavenger hunt. And I'm like putting name tags in these lanyard things. It doesn't matter what the job is. Everyone's just going to jump in, right? And that's the whole element of what we are. And overall, all things, that has got to be the thing that's contributed to the year-over-year growth and the doubling of revenue we've done every single year, just because there's no one thing left unchecked.
It's funny that you said, you gave the example of having a problem and like 3 people jumping in on it, because that just feels so normal now. And I feel like if we were to go to any other job anywhere else, we'd be like, hey, can someone help me with this? And you would just be left.
Yeah.
It's just so, because it's just so normal for us
pass that
now.
to this department or pass that to this person. They'll solve it.
Working with Disney, that's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Like if there's a single thing that needs done slightly out of the scope of a single person, it goes to a totally different department, which, you know, it's pretty efficient, but it's just crazy to see that. And then you come to us and we're just like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's interesting because each person here has a very high purpose. It is very important to the company, but not a dang single one of us has a job description.
That is true. So, that is true.
I mean,
I don't know if that's a boast or a bad thing.
No, I remember this conversation though, when we came back in from the agency to doing what we do now. It was like, listen, we're gonna have to build.
We have functions, not descriptions.
We have to solve problems, and we have to build process and frameworks. And like, do you want to be a part of that or don't you? Right? And that's the conversation we have with everybody. It's like, we are moving fast, as Dylan said, all the stinking time. If you have a problem with speed and the fact that what you're functioning and what you're helping with can change rapidly, but that's part of the fun and that's part of the journey of what we do. It's like, it's fun that we get to, the problems are always new, the challenges, and marketing always changes, right? So even what we teach changes so fast. So we as a company have to change and pivot what we do. But it's also just so stinking exciting. If I, wanted the same, job and everyone wanted the same job every day, nothing is wrong with being a, trash person, like picking up trash on the curbside. But if I want to do the same thing every day, I can do something like that. But we don't. We're here to pivot and all the time. So that's a long-winded answer to kind of my perspective of that.
If I were to pinpoint, looking back at the last 12 years almost, and I think this is really important for anybody listening that has been at this for a little while, is the single largest factor, I believe, to our growth is people. Like, like at the beginning, maybe like marketing is important. Like if you figure out, like for example, you could figure out manufacturing and third-party logistics, and then you do no fulfillment or production, and you could scale to 6 figures a month on your own. But eventually, to go to new levels, you have to have people. And people are the hardest thing to manage. I mean, like managing marketing on your own, that's easy. It's just data and tools and things like that. But I would attribute our largest 2x revenue year over year that we always experience to people once we started like really honing in on that. So I read a book years and years ago called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And really he uses the example of McDonald's, right? McDonald's was really smart. They would systematize with standard operating procedures. Here's how you make burgers and fries and get things out the door, et cetera, in like 2.5 seconds. And so he gives the example of, it is better to build systems and hire affordably, and then just overlay those systems on the people that you hire affordably. And that might work in some industries like McDonald's, but I think that I took that way too far. And I think a lot of people do. They think that I have standard operating procedures. And then so you hire people that are lower caliber, that don't necessarily have drive, but they could just do busy work, right? And then you hire people that can do busy work, and they follow the system, and then there's a hole in the system. But they're not the type of person to solve the hole in the system. They're the person to just do the system, and if there's a hole, they just fall off a cliff every single time they come. They fall in the hole every time they come to that hole in the process, and then you are stuck doing all of this stuff. And I think that the shift began when I decided it's better to hire for the people who can be told, here's what we need to do, not how we need to do it. And as soon as we found the people that are like, hey, we're going to host an event, and Dylan, we need to figure out where the heck the event's going to be and how it works. And then Dylan goes and he looks at the Hilton and he looks at hotels and we look at locations and we look at Orlando and he talks to Disney and he prices things out. And then he figures out, oh, here's how food and beverage minimums work. And then, you need to have a $30,000 food and beverage minimum for 30 people. And you're like, what the heck? Who the heck is going to eat $1,000 in food in 2 days? And, he figured it all out.
I bet I can do it, but yeah.
I bet I could do it.
Here's what
Disney prices, you could do it.
Yeah. It's really easy to hit 30,000 with
It's like
Disney.
2 lunches.
Yeah. Really, you just need people that can confidently make stuff up. That's what I didn't know anything about event stuff.
Well,
I just made it up.
You just need, we were talking about this with a group of clients not too long ago, but like, you just need to find people to drive. Like you can find people that are existing with the skill set and they're going to be an absolute premium. And maybe it is worth paying that, maybe, but you can find people with drive, regardless of the background, and people that are driven and believe that everything is figure outable are the ones you really want to work with, because they're the people that are the who's and they figure out the how's. And I think that, again, that has been just really, really critical for us. And we've been able to find those people that are able to do that. Because if not, what happens is you find yourself as the constraint. Everybody comes to you for feedback. Everybody is like, looking to you, and it just continues to constrain at you until like you're just entirely burnt out. Or on the reverse end, nobody can do it as well as you, so you fire them and then you just do it all yourself, and that leads to even more burnout than if you were just the constraint of answering feedback questions.
And oftentimes it's about, like, a lot of people get fallen into perfectionism, right? It's like, it's good enough for now and perfect along the way. And Dan Martell in Buy Back Your Time wrote that book. I mean, 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. So even if it's not 100% what you would do. And the craziest examples that I see of this is Dylan's wife, Bree, serves as kind of a little bit of everything, like everyone in this company.
Yep.
Josh
No
is
job
executive
description.
assistant, but also she falls into operations and all sorts of crazy stuff for us. And Josh, for those of you who've been following along, know that Josh is insane. And he has crazy ideas that seem unobtainable to a lot of people on this planet, right? So he'll give Bree some very vague direction. The most vague direction I've seen anybody receive in my entire life. Like, I want to accomplish this thing, and it's going to require the scavenger hunt, maybe. I don't know distances. I don't know any logistics, but here's the idea. Go. And what she's able to do is just insane. I mean, I want to give a gift to this person that's custom curated to them. Right. And then it happens. And it's like the craziest, most amazing gift I've ever seen. And so she's a very good living, walking example, because she probably sees the most vague instruction out of any of us about, here's a general idea about what we want to accomplish or what Josh is trying to do in his schedule or his life. And she just can take that and do that. So it's pretty incredible when you see it not in your own role, but it's someone else in the team, how they're able to bring that. It's inspiring, really, of all things.
Yeah. People are definitely important, and the right people make all of the difference. That is why I believe we've definitely 2X'd year over year. And until we figured that out, we were pretty stagnant, actually. And then we started figuring that out. And now that was a really, really big difference. And now we've grown to a team. This was a question that we were asked several times. I asked our community, hey, what questions do you have for us for this episode? And we might rapid fire some things at the end because we received a lot of questions. But one of the ones was largely around like, hey, what is our current team size? Maybe we present ourselves. Is this a larger company
80 to 90? Yeah, we're a big team, big corporation.
We might present ourselves as this really big team, but we are 8.5 people.
How do you have a half a person?
Well, actually, I would say we're 9. Well, go ahead with the 8.5.
I would say, I'm wondering where the other 0.5 comes from.
Yeah, I got you.
We're 0.5 because I became a dad in January.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dad.
the other 0.5 is Maxwell. So
the other one is Maxwell, our dog.
Your
Yeah,
son,
you're right.
a few months old William, and your dog Maxwell.
So we have 9.
Yeah, so that's where we get to the 9.
If we count.
Okay. What about
yeah.
Maggie?
But 8 adults.
Dylan's dog Maggie doesn't count as a.
I wouldn't hire Maggie.
I would not
Maggie's
hire
like a
Maggie.
substitute teacher. She's here sometimes.
Yeah. So I put William in there because he's hired for ads. We'll pay him a salary of a Roth IRA amount to Max's Roth IRA every year. And he's using our ads. But yeah, we have a lean
He's a
team.
model. He's our model entertainer.
Yeah, you put a baby in an ad, I'm telling you.
I would
A
not
lot of people do
recommend.
think we're a lot bigger than we are, and that's not a flex. It's just more of like we run lean and mean, and we keep our tribe tight. It's like we don't. Is the purpose of doing this impact or changing lives and helping people, or is it just we fell into this so many years ago. It's like, look how many team members for our agency, and look all this cool stuff we do, and look how amazing it is. But then you look at the back end, it's like, oof, right? So it's like, I think we just run such a lean team that does so much, and that's what's really cool about it.
Yeah. Let's move on here. I want to talk about the second kind of aspect of our business, which is Breezeway. Breezeway is, I'm going to let Dylan lead charge on this, but Breezeway is our software that we are partnered on with another cool dude. And Breezeway is actually built for e-commerce brands. Like we've obviously, we're in hundreds of ad accounts, and we do, I don't even know how many hundreds of sessions of coaching every year as we're optimizing accounts, and we have frameworks of operation, and we know what good rules of thumb are and bad, and what benchmarks are good and what aren't. And we've learned so much about advertising that we have leaned in for almost 2 years, not quite 2 years, but in building our own software called Breezeway. But I would like to hand that over to Dylan, because this has actually really come to the foreground in this year in 2025, but in 2024 it really started to get some wind.
Yeah. So we started working with Cliff. So he reached out to me like the end of 2023, which was crazy. I went back to my calendar and I looked at the first meeting I had on the books with Cliff, and it was like the end of 2023. And he told me he was working on an attribution tool called Attribution Guru, and he wanted to use our program, our foundations, our education and stuff to build that. It's like, okay, cool. Have fun, I guess. Enjoy it. Yeah, you can use whatever you want. And then March of 2024, we got on a call, and he showed me what he'd been working on from the end of 2023 to March of 2024. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really cool. So then I kind of met with him periodically throughout 2024, pulled Josh in a little bit for it. But then what really was like, okay, this is like really happening, was at the end of 2024, end of last year, in September, actually during our Orlando event last year, we finally rolled it out in beta to all of our clients, which was really cool. We finally got to get some users in this tool that had been, being worked on for over a year at that point. And specifically, we rolled out features like an automated CEO dashboard. So the CEO dashboard is a tool that our clients use regularly, but it's manual. So they go in and they enter all these different pieces of data daily, weekly, monthly. But we just automated it. So now it integrates with Shopify and Meta and just pulls all of that in.
And then real quick, CEO dashboard, for people that are not familiar, is basically like, if you're the CEO of your business, what's the dashboard you need to look at daily, weekly, monthly to make wise, educated decisions? Like to be able to look at like revenue, AOVs, blended numbers. What's our ad spend percentage, our 4-week running ad spend percentage, what's our cash position, our debt position, and then we'll take notes on changes in the business every day, so we can always like go through. If something happens, we could trace back to what happened. So we call it a CEO dashboard. We look at weekly or daily, weekly, monthly. We log the most important metrics in our business because it shows us at a glance what trends are, and we can be really proactive in our decision making. So just wanted to give that preface on what a CEO dashboard is. And now, instead of manual in the spreadsheet, everything is automated.
Yeah. If you have no idea what anything Josh said is, I got 199 episodes before this that have your name on it that will really help you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
Good plug.
And then we also have a manual KPI calculator, which automatically calculates your break-even CPA, your break-even ROAS, your target CPA, your target ROAS, all of those different things. And it was all spreadsheets previously. So, through integrating that Shopify and Meta into Breezeway, we're able to just kind of pull all that data into the CEO dashboard, but then also the KPI calculator. But it's so much even more than that. So the KPI calculator was renamed the Breeze Brain in Breezeway because it is like how Breezeway even makes decisions about your business. So it knows all of your unique metrics of your business. It's not using like made up numbers that we have. It's actually your numbers throughout the whole tool. And specifically after September 2024, last year, when we officially announced this, and obviously we announced we launched the Alley as well at this point in time, we started to realize, getting into the beginning of this year, who the market really was for Breezeway. Mm-hmm. And we realized that it was the same people that we were servicing in the Alley. Yeah. Because there are so many people that start businesses that need ad help, but can't find it. And, you can always come to us, but if Breezeway could be, the step before us, and it could be the coach that just is always there, the coach in your ads manager. So we started to kind of tailor Breezeway to be the coach and to focus on the e-commerce business owners under $20,000 a month. And as it's grown, the biggest feature that we've done since then would be a complete redesign of the ads manager. So the ads manager is all in Breezeway. You can see your campaigns, your ad sets, your ads, and then even better, which this is my favorite part. Inside of the ads manager, first off, it's way easier to use than Meta's ads manager, which is pretty terrible. But we added a bunch of things we wish were in the ads manager. So, like day by day breakdowns where you can see like your ad spend day over day, and you can see ROAS day over day and that kind of thing. Meta sucks. Like, it's just columns of like days, and I can't see trends. I just have to kind of make up a trend in my head. So we added trend bars, visual trends, which is so nice because you can just click on your ROAS and you can see, it started to increase on, the 27th. And then you can go back and look and see, why did it increase on the 27th?
And then on the trends though, on top of that, it shows the trends day over day, and it has a line that like ebbs and flows based on the trends, but it also shows your lines of break even ROAS or CPA based on the model that you want to go after, as well as your targets. So you know how it's hovering within that. It's really visually awesome and easier to understand.
The best part about this is working like a lot on the front end of strategy people. Everybody wants what do I do really quick? What's the easiest, shortest cut way to figure all this out? And then you realize, it's actually a lot of hard work. And then the backbone of what we teach, I tell most people is it's interesting to us, but most people that start businesses and e-commerce stores are creative, right? They have a vision for their life and their business. And what we teach compared to them is boring to 99%, right? It's analytics, it's data. It's the stuff that's not sexy, all right? It's the stuff that when you go in, it's reading data and understanding metrics and making sure that they're healthy and how this all relates to each other. It's like a big puzzle. And when you can read that and become, adept at it and you understand it, that is what moves your business forward. So and that's hard to do. Yeah, it is. and the most exciting part about Breezeway is it makes it easier, right? It makes it easier for people to read metrics. It makes it easier, not just on the eyes.
Almost like it makes it a breeze. You can keep going.
I wish we called the Breeze Brain Brain Breeze just for the brain freeze analogy, but that's
I'm sorry. Me. I'm really sorry. We can change it.
It's okay. Still time.
I'll change it for you.
So when you have something that, visually is just more appealing to creative people. It makes that part that most businesses find incredibly challenging that much easier to obtain. It's it's faster, it's more efficient, and they can come in. You slap that sucker in dark mode, which is just the nicest thing. It's very easy on the eyes. So it's adding the creative component and the visual component to something that most people struggle with, and that is just so many darn numbers and so much analytics. So if we can make that easier, and Breezeway is making it easier, that's just so exciting. And I tell everyone too, they're like, "Why does this exist?" I'm like, "Well, you ever buy a car and you ever wish that car had heated seats and AC seats and a heated steering wheel?" That's what Breezeway is.
I wish these seats were AC.
I know. Right now.
Now, my favorite thing that we just rolled out for Breezeway, like just a few weeks ago, ties perfectly into that. It is like the coach. Like the ultimate goal with Breezeway is to replace the coaches essentially. Now, you'll never be able to, unfortunately, because you have to have some sort of analytical looking at things and making educated decisions. But right now, Breezeway is able to look at your metrics in your ads manager, and it highlights across the ads manager red, yellow, and green. And if your metrics are below your KPIs that you set in the Breeze Brain, it highlights red. You hover over the red and it tells you exactly how to fix it. So it's so simple to optimize your ads now, because you just look at a 14-day window and you look at your ads manager and it highlights red where you need to work on. And you can fix it, and then it'll tell you the next thing to work on. That is like and that is the kind of stuff that we're continuing to roll out for Breezeway in the coming months here, which I won't get into on this call, but we have tons of new stuff that we're getting ready to roll out for Breezeway in a few months. And it's all going to tailor around that concept of not only making data less scary, giving you confidence, making it easy to do those things, but also just making a better ads manager, because like I said, the Meta Ads Manager is just the
and for everyone
worst.
saying like, oh, great, another AI software. Like this is like based on statistical probability, your KPIs, your metrics based on what do your numbers need to look like. It's based on all the things. It's calculating it. If anything, it's just it's like what are those expensive calculators that you use in high school? You know what I'm talking about?
TI-84.
Yeah, like your mom had to spend like $200 on their own things. Like that's more of what this is it's taking those things and it's hyper calculated based on real life metrics and data around you. That's not like general, like AI tells us that we should do this. This is very customizable. It's very exciting.
That's interesting that you bring that up because something that I wanted to talk about was like, okay, so how does this compare to things like Triple Whale, Hyros, Cometly, that kind of thing? And it really doesn't, because we know that those tools they're oversaturated in the market of just attribution and data visualization. That's not really what Breezeway is doing new. What Breezeway is doing is making it easy to do all of this stuff. And not only that, but actually giving you, like you said, personalized recommendations where Triple Whale, Hyros, those different tools are giving general recommendations based on what they know, which is great, but it's not
and in
taking
the ads
yours
manager
into
of those, they
consideration.
don't give you recommendations.
No, they don't.
It's literally just like they're attribution tools. So they're going to say like, here's like a hierarchy of like campaign ad set ads. Great. We all
Here's
do
your
that,
customer
right?
journey.
But it'll show you like, here is what Facebook attribution is showing, and here's what Triple Whale's attribution is showing. But we have a whole episode on attribution thoughts. You can go listen to it. I forget what episode that is. But with all that said, like it doesn't tell you what to do still. And the other thing too is like, imagine if you logged into your ads manager. Like right now you log in, you see all this data and you're like, what the heck do I do? Is this good? Is this bad?
You only see the data if you've set up the correct columns, because Meta doesn't give you the right columns.
Oh, yeah.
You have to make up what
Their
those
default
columns
columns
are.
I was in an account the other day that's spending $1,200 a day, and the cost per click and return on ad spend and CPM, what we would consider to be the important metrics to understand. I mean, it wasn't even in there. It's like, what in the world?
It's like cost per website purchase.
Yeah.
So like
cost per results. And
cost per result. So what's interesting is like, imagine like you had a dashboard that would say, hey, based on your average order value, based on your cost of goods and your credit card processing fees and your shipping and fulfillment and 3PL fees, if you're using those, in your contribution margin, like based on your gross profit margin or contribution margin, here's your break even. Here's a recommended target, but you could adjust the recommended target. You can control that if you want to. And then based on these metrics, you can look at any campaign, any ad set or ad, and it's going to give you a Breeze score of 0 to 99. And we never give 100 because nothing's ever perfect, but like 0 to 99, and it's going to use your AOV. It's going to use your break even metrics. It's going to use, if you're focused on cost per acquisition or CPA, or you're focused on return on ad spend, you choose what model you want to go after. And based on that, it's going to give you a score of 0 to 99. And 0 to 10 is red, 11 to 89 is yellow, and 90 plus is green. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at the statistical probability of how that campaign ad set or ad is going to perform based on the number of impressions it's received against the number of purchases it's received against your own Breeze Brain metrics. How great is that? Like a question we get all the time: how long do I have to wait for my ads before I optimize them? We give rules of thumb, right? We're like, hey, you need to give us like 7 days. But if you're spending $2,000 a day on a campaign, you don't need to wait 7 days for there to be enough impressions to purchase ratio based on your metrics to make a decision. Breezeway takes all of that and gives you statistical probability so that way you can make decisions and not have to let your emotion get involved. You can just make mathematical decisions with your media buying, and it's all built on your business. And so, I mean, Breezeway is amazing. I mean, when we optimize, I was on a call earlier today. They're like, well, how long, someone asked, how long should I give it before I do this? I said, what does your Breezeway say in the last 7 days? Well, it says it's green. Okay, great, then scale it. Like if it's 97%, great, scale it. The Breeze score is using your metrics and your impressions and your purchase to impression rate, and it's going to tell you statistically what the probability is of this continuing to be stable and scalable. And so remove your emotion, just follow the data. And so we do that every single day.
I always tell people too, is like, imagine you had a marketing team and that marketing team had to get in a room and everyone was responsible for bringing an X metric to the table. It's like, congratulations, you don't have a marketing team, but you have this. Right?
Yeah.
It's insanely powerful.
So if you guys are listening to this and you want access to Breezeway, sorry, we are not giving access to non-clients yet, but it will be coming very, very soon. So if you are interested, I'm putting a link in the description of this podcast. Go click it. Go join the email list, and you'll also be able to take a look at what Breezeway has a little bit more in depth as to what that is. Join the wait list. You'll get emails from Breezeway about new features, and then when it is ready to roll out, we will reach out to you and you'll be able to set up an account. So
thank you all for listening today. This you've been bamboozled again. This was just a promo for Breezeway.
Well, I mean, this podcast is kind of just promoting all of the things that we do. That's kind of this episode. So, but we'll just give a little bit more story.
The overarching theme, you should buy from us.
Here are the things that we do.
I'm
and
just
why
kidding.
we're
Live events by Breezeway.
No, Breezeway is really cool. Very affordable for what it does. Something you said earlier about Breezeway, before we move on to the third talking about portfolio stuff. You had mentioned that Breezeway is really valuable for people that are like under maybe $20,000 a month in ad spend, or like just in general.
Yeah.
I would say that's good. It's going to help with that.
It's an understatement.
You should have Breezeway no matter what. Like, we have accounts that we're way over $20,000 a month, and Breezeway it slices your optimization time of having to think from like however long you take, cut it by 90%. And that's how long it's going to take to do in Breezeway. If it takes you an hour, it's going to take you literally 5 minutes in Breezeway to know what do I need to kill? What do I need to keep? What do I need to scale? Right? It's going to tell you right out of it. It's so fast. So I believe everybody should be operating on Breezeway just from a time saving standpoint. It's pretty bizarre what it saves, even in our team, because we manage for us and we manage for the 3 brands. Which brings me to the final kind of pillar of the business that is the Ecommerce Alley is the portfolio side of the business. So just literally since episode 100 that we filmed almost 2 years ago, we have expanded into a new coaching program called the Alley, which is for people that are maybe less than $20,000 a month in revenue. And we really teach how to leverage meta ads. We coach you, we give you all our systems, frameworks, templates, et cetera, to really scale beyond that. We keep everything updated. And then we have the Max Profits Mentorship, which is like 20,000 plus. And we have people in there that are doing, I think the largest does like, 11 million a year, 10 million a year, something like that. And then we moved into Breezeway, and Breezeway now, I don't know how many clients are on it, but we have a good amount of clients, continue to add more every single week. And then eventually we'll open it. If you get on the wait list, like Dylan said, there'll be a link in the description. You'll get kind of first dibs on getting on the list for Breezeway and getting it. And then there's the third part, and it feels like so much has happened in 2 years. And then the third aspect is we decided this year to move into to like starting to build a portfolio of like brands and founders that we love and we can get behind. We love their products, we love who they are, and we really believe that we could help. And so we started this in January with 2 different businesses. Pacific Hound, which is dog gear products. Our number one seller is our dog scarves. And then we also did this with the Quirky Mouse, which sells really deep, like if you know, Disney tees, as well as now fine art, because our founder Kylie is really awesome and like insanely creative, and she paints some insane art. And so we got into prints. Actually, just this last week, we figured out 3PL, we figured out printing and production and all that stuff. And now like that is scaling like gangbusters. But we started this in January as like a test. And our goal by the end of the year was to say, let's work with 3 brands and then decide, is this a business model we want to pursue, where we work with them? We get, for the first year, we opt to work on like these performance basis. So it's like we have a lot of skin in the game with what we do, and decide after this year, do we want to pursue this? Now, the jury is still out. But so far, it is so much fun. It is so much fun working with the brands. Now, Dylan and Jake are not necessarily involved in this. I'm involved in this the most. And then we have Robert on our team who oversees all 3 of their paid media, their marketing, working with the teams for like getting creative, working with them on strategy. When are we doing promos? Like all of this stuff to grow the businesses. So Robert does like the 80%. I'm like maybe 10% of the work.
Yeah. The coolest part about this is proof is in the pudding, right? And it's different when you learn from someone. There's a billion gurus and people on the planet who can teach in the clouds. That's easy. you should do general strategy. And there's a lot of people out here who don't want to get specific. They don't want to get their hands dirty, or from the trenches is what I say. It's different to be a general and be like, this is the general movements of the military versus like, we're in the trenches. Here's how you do warfare. And that is the biggest asset of not just having these as partners, but proving. And I tell people all the time too, that I meet is we deploy strategies in these brands you will never hear about, right? You will never see, because we deploy theories that often, how many times do you have to make a light bulb to figure out how not to make a light bulb, right? There's 999 ways not to do something, there's one way to do it. And we get to deploy strategies that nobody on this planet will ever find out about because they didn't work, right? So we can find the things that work and we can teach them to other people. Yep. We are the first line of defense, the first guinea pig in our brands of working and curating these strategies. It's also how we move fast. I mean, the collective ad spend of these brands allows us to test fast. And that way, when we go to help people with strategy, it's like, well, this is not new. We did this on ourselves first. We've rolled this out to multiple people. And that way we can validate anything that we do before it's ever taught. So we practice to the core of what we preach and plus some, right? And so these brands it's an adventure. It's a lot of fun, but it also is just a way for us to really make sure that we never teach strategy that's out of date and we never teach strategy that doesn't work. And I think that that's the most exciting part about these brands. And they're just amazing brands. They're super fun.
They're so fun. They're
super
awesome.
Fun products. I mean, you're selling dog collars and scarves and Disney apparel and, body products for men. Like, we have these amazing brands with these really cool missions and amazing people. And we can it's how we move faster than a lot of people out there, right? So it is a very important part of what we do.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, like, even so, we actually began with Pacific Count and Quirky Mouse in January, and then a few months later, as we kind of pulled into like March-ish, we decided to take on a third brand, and we took them on for 3 weeks in March, all of April, and then we carried through May. But in May, I actually dropped them. But it's not because we weren't able to like get results. In fact, we joined forces after 1 week in March, and their previous month in February, they had done 1.1 million in sales. And by the end of March, we had taken them from the run rate of 1.1 million to 1.9 million. And so we added almost 800,000 in revenue to their business in 1 month collective, right? It's all of March's revenue. But it was just the workload for us in that capacity. It was just too much too soon. And the founder was really, really cool and awesome. And it was in the boutique space. And so we kind of had to fist bump and part as friends. And so we kind of made way for the third brand that we still work with right now, with Taylor Smith's, with Right Wing Naturals, which is like soap. We sell tallow balm, eventually deodorant, so like men's hygiene products. And we started that in June, and here we are in August. We're going into the third month, and we do everything. We filter everything through the fun lens. And like the money lens is a very important lens to look through. Like, if we were just hemorrhaging cash month over month over month over month, and we're not having fun, that sucks. But we have so much fun. I enjoy it. The founders are just incredible human beings. It's a blast. They're the type of people that you could like say, hey, we want to do this, or we brainstorm together. We throw an idea on the table, we hash it out, and then they go do their thing, just like our team can go do our thing. And they don't have to worry about, well, our Josh in the team, at the Ecommerce Alley, is Robert, who's really running everything. Is the Ecommerce Alley team going to pull their weight? And we don't have to worry, are they going to do the thing that they said that they're going to do? And so it's been really, really fun. Our goal in it, now we did a whole podcast, so I'm not going to rehash an hour-long podcast on that, but we did a podcast, I forget how long ago, on this, where I kind of broke down a little bit more why we chose them, et cetera. But ultimately, our goal is to grow to 1 million a month by, now this is crazy, but by end of year. So we might be trending 180 this month between all three, 180,000 in sales, maybe 200,000 if things pick up. But in the next 3 months, my goal is to basically 5X that and have November with Black Friday, Cyber Monday be $1 million a month, which would be really, really crazy. And like Jake said, yes, we try to break boundaries and trailblaze in a lot of areas, but 80 to 90% of what we do is actually what we just tell all of our clients to do. So while we trailblaze and we test and we like break rules and try different things, most of what we do is actually what our clients we tell our clients to do. So like we run Meta ads. For one of them, we run a little bit of Google. We do email, we do SMS, we do campaigns, we do flows, we do website optimization, we do split testing. Like we do all of the things that we tell people to do. And part of beginning to build a portfolio is under the idea that we want to lead the way in showing people that we don't just preach, but we practice. And literally the growth that we've seen, like this month, is already up 111% over last month. And last month we did about 120,000 in sales. Month to date at the time of this recording, it's August 14th. And the month is not, the month's almost halfway over, but we're up 111% revenue-wise. And profit is up even more than almost 200% over the previous month because of some things we did. But it means we're on track to almost double what last month is. And so like I say that because we practice what we say to do, and it's been an absolute blast so far. I'm having a lot of fun. It can be taxing at times when like I'm in like deep writing mode and I have to tackle other projects, and then I have to kind of come back in and like continue problem solving and offering ideas and stuff. I guess that is one of my strong suits and what I'm in charge of. But it has been an absolute blast. So that's kind of like the third part of our business where we have, number one, we have information, live events, coaching, like nuanced support. Number two, we have Breezeway that is client only now, but eventually will be open to the public and other people could use the tool that we use to manage ads. And then section number three is this portfolio that we have been building this year. It's been an absolute blast. And I'm super excited to go into Q4 because Q4 is just like, it's just a wild time. It's crazy. So yeah, that kind of brings us up last 2 years. I know this is really long. That brings us up to now. So in the last 2 years, we have gone from not a whole lot, really launching the podcast, being, 2 years into the podcast when we recorded the 100th episode. But since then, software portfolio has become the next thing. And it's been a crazy journey since.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, hey, I don't know if you guys want to. I asked the community a ton of questions, and I know that literally we are pouring sweat up here. And
I've honestly just kind of tuned it out. I'm just like in the zone. I'm in the zone.
I don't know how you tune it out, dude. My back is sweaty as could be.
Oh, I'm not leaning up against the chair. I don't want to know.
I'm not either.
In my previous life, I was a camel, so it kind of works out.
That makes sense. Yeah. I just haven't thought about how hot I am. I will say anytime the camera's not on me, I'm just kind of dead staring into the monitor, but I'm doing well. Let's answer some questions.
Okay, so we did ask our community for just some questions like, hey, what questions do you have for us? So there are some questions in here. And I'm going to start with the most commonly asked question that we get because this one was asked again in the last week as we're asking for people for questions for our 200th episode. And that is, are we bringing on more partner brands?
Do you want us to answer that? I don't know, actually.
No.
Okay, cool.
We are not. Not as of now, but don't stop messaging us in case that changes. Every week, we probably get 1 to 2 people asking us like, hey, are you bringing any other partners? The answer is no, but if that changes, if you have messaged us at some point, you'll probably be on a list for us to kind of review and maybe talk to you. So first question. Second question. This is from one of our clients all the way in New Zealand. How do you balance your life with all these balls in the air? Do you have tips on how to switch off?
Go ahead. I did a whole podcast on this a few weeks ago, so
maybe that's the answer.
No, I'm just kidding. So, I don't know. It's interesting because like everyone talks about this work-life balance, right? Of like, well, how do you balance family and fitness and work and this other thing you have going on and all that? The reality is, certain aspects of your life require more attention than others. So this is my answer to this as well. Yep. And the podcast might be different, but the reality is like certain aspects of time, it's going to take more time in some aspects sometime, right? And I have 2 toddlers at home, and I have what we do here, and there's all these things. We have a farm with 190 sheep on it, so it's like there's always.
Did you count them all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's revenue stream. Sorry if you don't eat sheep or lamb. So anyway, but ultimately, it's like there's definitely balances of what happens, right? The point of doing all this is to create a freedom of time and money so you can focus on what's important. For instance, next Tuesday, I'll be out half a day. I have to take my daughter to a specialist. And it's like, but if you don't build the right systems around your life, you can't do those things. You're tied. You're a slave. You're trapped. When you're on vacation, you think about the business. When you don't have good processes, frameworks, and systems in place, you fall victim to everything, right? Same with budgeting and finance. If your finances are a mess, your money gets spent everywhere, right? If you don't have a good plan for your fitness, you do everything, you eat whatever, you don't exercise enough. Like there's always balances of all these things, and some things just require more than others. Is there a key? Is there a trap? It just comes down to priorities change over time. You just had a baby, Josh, right? So even your schedule in life has changed recently. And it's like, I think a lot of people get caught into like, I have to have this routine, I have to do this. Is time blocking important? Is scheduling important? Absolutely. But you have to also respect that this is going to change, right? And I think that is the biggest element of like realization that life is chaos. It is chaos all the time. And you have to embrace that and just know that stuff is changing. The business grows. You have children. You have ventures and opportunities. And you have to just know, how much input do I put into this and what's the return? And we talk a lot about the buyback rate too. Like, what is my time actually worth? Is it worth, is there things in my life that I should not be doing and need to be outsourced? Or is there things in my life that just need to go away entirely? Or I need to decrease them by 80, 90% of the effort it takes. And, we see this every single day. Somebody comes in, I don't have time to run ads, but yet I spend time writing 15 social media posts a day. It's like, well, okay, what's the impact of that? So ultimately, I think it's not as much about this balance. It's just blending, and certain aspects of life will require more of you. And when you can recognize that it's always going to be chaotic, you chose the path of entrepreneurship, right? It's not going to be an easy one. It's definitely not going to be a light one in terms of what's required of you. But you have to learn of like, the point of doing this is to create freedom of time and money. Right. So I don't know. That's at least my perspective of that. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, you can listen to 40 minutes of Josh and I's perspective on a previous podcast.
Boundaries will help.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Josh and I talked about that a bunch.
I mean, at the end of the day, like a client sends an email. Is anyone going to die? Right. Or is it important for you to be at your kid's t-ball tournament? I don't know. Yeah. Right. Like in the business, is somebody going to bleed out on the ground and it's an absolute emergency? Because what most of us consider as fires are really you can let burn.
Oh, hold on. But my need is different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, Josh, because it's not.
All right. Let's move on.
Yeah, we have a few more questions. This one's from Jolene. She said she's interested in how we make ourselves do the stuff that's not automatically in our lane. Like, how do you convince yourself that it is possible to master a new skill? She references finance as an example, but I think of software as a good example, or events as a good example.
Go to Jocko Willing's podcast. Where he just tells you to suck it up. It's a great podcast.
That's a good episode. Go watch that video called Good. A couple things. First, like, have I seen it done before? So like, for example, if I know that it's something that I need to get done, but I haven't experienced success in that area, then have I seen it done? And if I've seen it done, it's just simply a limiting belief that I might have. That maybe like a really common limiting belief, by the way, is like, oh, I'm not a ABC person. Like, I'm not a finance person. I'm not a numbers person. I'm not a insert whatever person. And it's just a limiting belief, because the reality is it's the same thing. Like, this doesn't work for high ticket, or this doesn't work for me, and it's like, well, has this worked for someone else in your industry? If yes, then that's a limiting belief. And so if I can identify, this is out of my lane, but it is possible, then I know that I have a limiting belief here. And then the second thing I kind of look at is like, how does this fit my energy in my skill set? Like, if this is going to drain the life out of me, I'm probably going to look to outsource it or not do it at all. Now, finance, Jolene, you mentioned finance. Finance is one of those things that you cannot live without, because there are certain things that you can't just leave. You have to have good financial understanding and build a strong foundation on that. Nobody becomes a 7, or maybe you could fake your way to a 7, because I know some 7-figure peeps that their finance is not very in order. Yeah. But nobody builds a really stable, long-term, sustainable business that is really successful without strong foundation on finance. So what that means is, can it be done? The answer is yes, because people have been doing it since the dawn of time. You just don't acquire the skill. And so it's not like a matter of if something is possible. It's what it looks like for you and when that happens. And your job is to bridge the gap. The way that you bridge the gap is by simply, in the soft words that Jacob said, suck it up. It sucks if you don't like doing the thing. And so either you have to learn to do the thing and acquire the skill set, invest in the training for that, or you need to find someone else who can do it. Now, because I know your situation, I know what you're working on, and I know that you're talking about finance because you are a client of ours, I think that you should just learn the skill, acquire it to the point where you are confident in it, and then outsource it.
That was very insightful. Moving on. This one is Calvin asked, how many people got you to where you are? Like, did you learn it all yourself, or did you delegate tasks and learning to other people, etc.? How big is your team, which we already answered, and how do you all work together, which we already answered. What would you recommend for when you bring on new team members?
There's a lot in there. So how many people got you to where you are? Too many that I can count. Like we like to say,
the way to the top is like a trail of body bags.
That's not what he meant.
Sorry.
That's not what he meant.
All right. Okay, that's the other business we run. So
joke.
I'm just
guys.
So I would say, like, I mean, we always say like we're community made. So like everyone is community made. Nobody is self-made. Like the idea of like self-made is so stupid to me. Like nobody is self-made. Your parents instilled values in your belief system. They helped you become the person that you've become. The people around you shape you and contribute in some capacity. So to believe that you did everything on your own with zero outside influence just is like, it is scientifically impossible to have no outside influence on any regards. So I think that like the number of people, more than I could count because I have never tried to count. Did I learn on myself or delegate tasks and learn to other people? Certain things I think you need to learn. I think there are like levels to it. So for example, we do something called an energy audit, which we kind of bummed from Dan Martell with Buy Back Your Time. And we'll analyze all of our energy, like from like hey, I'm really good at this, I'm really bad at this, I really love this, I really hate this. And we'll find things that we really suck at and we really hate, and we'll get those off of our plate. So at the beginning, there are certain things that I believe that you need to do. The very last thing that you need to outsource is your marketing lever. I mean, marketing tasks, content, paid media management, strategy of your marketing for your brand is the lifeblood of your brand. And too many people, that's the first thing they outsource. It makes no sense. They go hire an agency and they have no idea what to sell, how to sell it, how to talk to the people, what creatives work, etc. That's the last thing that you should do. And so I think you should delegate, but there is an order to it. We already talked about our team. And then when do you bring on new team members? I am now a fan. So I'm a huge fan of revenue per head or profit per head. You can reverse engineer it based on your business model and how profitable you are. But revenue per head, I mean, like we have clients we work with that are like single person teams or 2-person teams that do $100,000 or $250,000 a month. So it is possible if you figure out fulfillment and production. But ultimately, I follow the buy back your time rate. Like you have to establish your buyback rate. Calvin, you have access to that in our training portal under the finance module. So I would go figure Dan Martell's buyback your time. We literally teach some of those frameworks to our clients. Establish your buyback rate, and then anything that's under your buyback rate, you need to outsource and never do it again. That's the short of it.
And the last thing I'll add on that is when it comes time to bring that person in, one thing that's really cool that we do is the team. The team meets them, right? We'll go to dinner. We bring them to the office. They'll hang out with us for a few days. And the reality is we have to like them, right? And if one person doesn't like them or has skepticism, we hit the pause button of like, okay, we're a tribe. We work really well and intimately and effectively. So if there's somebody on the team who's like, this is not a good fit, and we've all disagreed on that, Dylan, myself, Josh, we've all had disagreements on people we talk about, and we'll talk through that and figure that out. Like, what was it about that person that you didn't feel like would calculate or solve this thing? Or do you feel like they're the right human being? Not even if they have the right skill set today, but are they the right person to learn it or take it on? And that is very unique, and almost nobody does that, right? That's a very unique thing that we do as a team. Is like you meet our entire team before we decide that this is going to make sense or it's not going to make sense. If it is going to make sense, then we all agree and we move on, right? And so I think that's just another note of like, or even if your spouses have reservations, usually their intuition's pretty good. So you can obviously use who's around you to determine who's going to continue being around you in the future.
This is an interesting one. So was there a single moment when you knew this was going to work? What about you guys? Was there a single moment they're like, oh yeah, this is it. Like things are taking off. This is the moment. We're going to have jobs tomorrow.
Do you have one?
I did at the beginning. Obviously this is all new. We had to blaze the path in a lot of ways. And it was just, with any dream or any vision, it's like we had to believe in that, right? So in the beginnings, stages, no, obviously it's much easier. Fast forward roads to get bands. We have software. We have all these things on the road. So I can look at how confidently now and be like, yes, we have all the things. But in the beginning, that's not true, right? You're acquiring this more skills. You're testing more. You're helping more people, and that has grown exponentially over the years. And so to say like the exact moment, I have no idea. I can say that today. I can look at our systems and our clients and our amazing people that we help them today, and I can say, yeah, we have something truly special that's changing lives. But if I was to fast forward a few years ago, definitely not the case. We had to figure a lot of stuff out.
You rewind to previous years. You don't fast forward to previous years.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I got you.
I haven't held a remote in a while. Just here, you just yell at the TV.
I'll tell you, I think the thing for me was when we were able to do something over and over and over, and it produced the same results every single time. I think to our boot camp, our live boot camps, not only did we have the script, we had the strategy, we had the marketing system, we had the video system, like everything there worked like a fluid, flawless machine. And I think we did it 5 or 6 times. We don't do them anymore, but I think we did it about 5 or 6 times. And it was about the third one. The first one could have been a fluke. Second one, all right, we might know what we're doing here. Third one was like, okay, we've now continually done this over and over. It's a proven system. And I think once we got that, and I think what's funny, it was that then gave us the confidence to not do them anymore. It was that third one where we almost were like, oh, we know what we're doing. We don't even need these boot camps. We could find a way to do this evergreen, and we don't even need the boot camps. I think that was the big turning point. Maybe it was the third, maybe it was the fourth. I don't know. But it was those boot camps where we did them every 3 months or so, that the better they got, the smarter we got, and the easier things got, I think.
I would agree. That was probably that switching point of like, oh, this works all the time, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And the things that because what we teach changes over time. And when we finally realized that we don't have to host these large events and get all these people in a room, and that was cool and it was exciting. It was a lot of work, but it was cool and exciting. But now it's like we people are looking for help, and we can do this all the time. And I think I would agree with that. That was probably a big
single. I don't think there's a single moment, like you said, Jake, that things were going to work. There's 3 big things. Number 1, figuring out acquisition. That's what I was going to say. Right in line with Dylan, figuring out our boot camp acquisition, which we have evergreen now. We sell a $17 course as like acquisition for us. Solving acquisition makes you realize that you can actually sleep at night, and you don't have to worry about, am I going to have sales tomorrow? Mm-hmm. So like, that's why everything for us comes back to acquisition. All roads lead to acquisition. And if you can't figure out acquisition, you're kind of dead in the water. Your retention doesn't matter. If you're a subscription box, your churn doesn't matter if you can't acquire customers and you don't have cash flow. So
a car without the engines, like, what's the point?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, right. Good point. So so acquisition, once we figured that out, that was like the first thing. The second thing is when people started mentioning our podcast in YouTube, when they were on calls with you, Jake, that was really cool to me to be like, holy cow, people are actually listening to this podcast a gazillion hours in right now. That's really cool. And then the third thing was honestly when we rolled out a 401k. That was a big moment for me because I'm huge. I'm a financial nerd, and I love the fact we have a Roth 401k that we have 3.5% match on.
I'm a huge fan of it too.
What?
I'm a huge fan of it too.
Yeah. Free money, baby. You get free money. So that's pretty cool.
All right. Let's rapid fire some questions for Josh here. I've got a list of them here. Did success feel like a slow burn, or did it feel like a spaceship rocketing upward?
Slow burn, still a slow burn.
After 12 years, does it feel like a rocket ship?
It does feel like a rocket ship if I compare the first 8 from the last 4.
That's fair.
Every day is like a slow burn. I think that like you look at like these outlier situations of people on social media that maybe have outward appearances and aren't necessarily true, by the way. But you look at those and that's like the 0.00001% situations. And most businesses like us, just a lot of freaking hard work, and it's just a slow burn.
What is the biggest mindset shift that you see in people who go from struggling to thriving?
They don't make excuses. I think everyone has an excuse. And a lot of the times, and we talked about this in one of the previous episodes, like it starts with but. Like, well, yeah, but I already tried this and it didn't work. Yeah, but like it doesn't work for high ticket. Yeah, but like blah, 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 blah. And so, but my margins are different. Yeah, but my customers wouldn't respond well to increase my price. Yeah, and so like they don't make excuses. They just try, and they embrace the unknown, I think. And they view everything as like a solvable puzzle. So like the people that we observe that have the greatest growth, the most profit, and are the happiest are like, in the question you asked, from struggling to thriving, is they just realize that it's all part of the journey. It's like the most cliche thing ever. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And they truly embrace that and understand that literally the entire purpose of entrepreneurship, aside from like the financial benefits and stuff, is to just solve problems. And if you can fall in love with the process of solving really difficult puzzles, you will love entrepreneurship. If you complain and whine whenever something doesn't go your way, you probably shouldn't be an entrepreneur.
Or with the other path, I would say limiting belief, right? So people that don't believe that they're deserving, or they can't do it, or they're not special like other people, or they don't have the luck of other people. That I would say that's the other path, right? So the excuses and the victim mentality, but equally as so those that aren't victims, but they just have limiting belief and that they can't do something because they're not special or something crazy like that. They give up at those failures and things like this. So I would say that's definitely another one that we see.
What was the closest that you came to shutting it all down, and then what pulled you back?
What pulled us back?
I remember close to shutting it down.
The closest to shutting it down was in 2017. Etched in my brain. We're on vacation with our family. We're in the Outer Banks. A hurricane comes through. Remember that hurricane?
Yeah.
Hurricane Florence comes through.
Oh yeah, I do remember the hurricane.
So we literally.
I wasn't there, Dylan.
I wasn't
All right,
there.
Dylan's
You
okay.
experienced the heat of the hurricane, all right?
He's patronizing me. Okay, so hurricane comes through. We're in the Outer Banks with our family. We have to evacuate. We have to go to like this multi-million-dollar cabin, and the family and everybody's kind of pitching in. I think mom and dad pay for pretty much all of it, and I'm pretty much mooching. And I'm there with Kelsey, and I'm like posting on Instagram like, oh, all this flashy stuff, when we literally had $1.06 in our bank accounts. We were tens of thousands of dollars in debt. We had credit cards. We had $50,000 line of credit completely maxed out, and we were just going completely upside down. So like financially, that was the closest we came. But mentally, was later that year in 2018, if I fast forward a little bit, I was on this whole like going like keto kick. Like I would do like keto. I was just like a keto guy. I was like, oh, I'm going to do keto.
Fats
and
proteins, baby.
Yeah, fats and proteins, less than 20 carbs. And so it's like, I was in keto, and it became like and it was really, this is really bad. But there were moments when like our team was so bad at following through on the stuff that they were doing. And I literally could not even hold my temper. My anger was through the roof, and like I wasn't controlled. I wasn't graceful in my language. And like literally Maya, one of our business partners at the time, before she had a second kid and kind of left the company, she would ask my wife, Kelsey, who worked at the company at the time as well. She would be like, hey, Josh is going full keto right now. Literally became a term. Josh is going full keto. And apparently that means I would be unhinged, and I would just be like, I'd be like chewing someone out on something, which may not sound like me, but I don't know. But at that point, when I started hearing, oh, are you going to go full keto on me?
Good thing
I realized
we're there for
You look at
that.
people, you're like, you're nothing but a carb to me. Break my keto.
I'm just glad I wasn't here for that.
Oh man, our team started calling me full, like, oh, Josh is going full keto. And I was like, okay, this is bad if I'm like that loose tempered. We had financial struggles, and then of course financial struggles leak into literally everything. So that was a moment I was probably closest to just hating it. And I decided either we're going to do something different, or this isn't really going to work. And that's when I happened to read that book, and it kind of led into like, oh my goodness, this was what we were supposed to do the whole time.
What's one big risk you're preparing to take in the next year that scares you a little or a lot?
Taking Breezeway outside of a client base, because we've never done software. Software is such a different game. Read tons of books on it already, and audiobooks, trying to understand it. Obviously, Dylan, you're overseeing that. But it's just software behaves so differently. And I'm curious what acquisition looks like, because what I've observed is you have to operate on a deficit on the front end acquisition by like
deficit.
Yeah, by multiple months. And I just hate operating on a deficit for to be upside down for like 3 months or 4 months. Like under 3 months in software is good. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, if we're over 30 to 60 days right now, I hate that. So just navigating new waters. So probably the scariest thing.
Yeah, it'll be fun, but it is a little daunting, a little scary. If you could start the e-commerce alley over with the knowledge you have now, what would you have done differently, and what would you keep the same?
You wouldn't do keto.
I wouldn't do keto,
and
I wouldn't go full keto on people. I would hire really slowly, hire A players, figure out our core acquisition funnel ASAP. Run meta ads, run email, do the whole 9 that we usually do. Core funnel, ads, email. I would also do the podcast. The podcast, I wish we did the podcast 12. I couldn't imagine where the podcast would be in year 12 that we're about to go into if we had started this 12 years ago. But to be fair, we also knew literally nothing, so it probably would have been a bust.
Probably.
You know what? I'm taking that back. I don't think we should have started a podcast when we first started the business because we knew nothing.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
8 years to lead to the podcast.
We started somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and you wrote a note in here. My favorite, is it coup de grace? Is that how you say that? My favorite coup de grace. My favorite coup de grace question. What failure do you cherish the most?
Well, TJ, thank you for adding a ChatGPT question here because there is no way that is a common phrase. I don't even know what the heck coup de grace.
Coup de grace.
Coup de grace.
I'm pretty sure it's
Is that the festival in New Orleans? I think that's that one.
I think you're thinking of Mardi Gras, but I think it might be similar.
Well, first of all, it is coup de grace.
I think it's coup de grace, yeah.
Coup de grace. All right.
I
Thank you,
tried to not
ChatGPT.
look like an idiot first.
Coup de grace.
But then
coup
I
de
made fun of it.
Okay. Americanized version has the S on the tail end of that.
Oh.
Okay. So what is the question
It's
again?
not a real word. What's your most cherished failure?
Yes.
Cherished failure.
What did we learn from the most?
My most cherished failure was learning how much money we lose on events because in the process, it required us to run an event in Orlando that we learned we absolutely love, which led to us continue doing them.
Yeah.
So that was a failure profit-wise.
And a recent one at that.
And you know what? Not a lot has changed. Maybe a little bit better. For all of our clients listening, just know that we love you and that we want to hang out with you, but we're not making any profit on you coming to our events.
So hopefully you enjoy it.
Hopefully you enjoy it. And I cherish it because we found something that we really love. And we're just working on improving that.
Now we're just going to find a way to make it.
We're going to find a way to maybe break even.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll break even one day.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. So if you're not on the wait list for those virtual tickets, get on that wait list.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, this was the longest episode we have ever done.
At least we chose to do it in the hottest room we've ever done an episode.
Yeah.
A heat wave and all
I
that.
have to go take a shower. I'm like drenched right now.
Yeah, this was
we
fun.
appreciate you listening. If you listen to this far, then you're super special to us, and we really appreciate it. Honestly, like I get more excited about podcast reviews than like we get course reviews and some program reviews. And those are really cool. But like podcast reviews, I geek out on. Like I think podcast reviews and hearing that people are listening to the podcast means so much to me because like I connect with people on podcasts. Like the podcast that I listen to, I feel this like sense of connection with them. So if you're listening to this right now, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you. Also, if you hear any loud sounds outside of our hallway, it sounds like somebody's literally just banging a hammer.
It's just construction. Yeah. They're working on the studio right now.
They're
maybe
right
for those that are not on video. They're
right
working on the studio. They
Yep,
just showed up, the construction company.
That's what that is.
All right. Well, hey, we just want to say we appreciate all of you. If you're listening and you have not left us a review, we would appreciate it. Drop us a little rating. Maybe more than 4 stars. 5 is great, but I don't want to incentivize. So if you leave us a review, I'll give you a $10 Amazon gift card. But I won't force you to give us 5 stars to get that. Hey, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next episode.
See you.